National Institute for Science and Mathematics Education Development, or UP-NISMED, is a research and extension unit of the University of the Philippines. Guided by its mandate to improve science and mathematics education, NISMED performs three major functions: research, curriculum development, professional development, and extension services. Through the years, NISMED has been generating new knowledge regarding science and mathematics teaching in the country. Research outputs, such as teaching materials, are tried and tested to teachers and students inside the classroom. Relevant and innovative teaching materials are made available online and at NISMED publications for distribution. In addition, NISMED is highly involved in the framing of the National Science and Mathematics Basic Education curricula. Equipped with subject area specialists, NISMED offers professional development programs which cater to the needs of teachers and educators in the country and Asia-Pacific region. These training programs deepen teachers' understanding of the subject areas they teach. NISMED promotes science teaching through inquiry and teaching mathematics through problem solving. Not only it conducts training programs, but also mentors science and mathematics teachers in the elementary and secondary levels. NISMED also promotes lesson study, a school-based teacher professional development model which originated in Japan and is now gaining popularity in the country. To reach out to various communities, NISMED uses different platforms online. It also ventured into television to popularize science among general viewers and used radio to reach out to more teachers and the public.
Ito po ang programang sadyang handog ng UP-NISMED.
To further its extension services, NISMED regularly conducts stargazing activities to accommodate school requests. It regularly opens its laboratories, providing opportunities for students to learn science and mathematics concepts and practice their applications. To conduct more effective programs and activities, NISMED partners with both local and international organizations. Committed to excellence, NISMED programs have continuously been achieving awards and recognitions. Since its establishment in 1964, NISMED continues its journey of commitment and service to lead the nation in science and mathematics education.
Gusto namin po kayong pasalamatan sapagkat patuloy po ang inyong pagsama sa amin sa Go Teacher Go.
One of the goals of mathematics teaching is to give opportunities for students to experience transformations.
Simulation na to ay ina-allow yung learner para explore yung isang fragment ng DNA molecule.
May tuturing na cross-cutting concept o theme ang food security sa pagtuturo sapagkat kaya nitong tupugin o pagtagdi-tagdiin ang iba't ibang konseptong pag-agham at maging yung mga konseptong sakop ng iba pang mga disiplina.
Ako pares sa'yo, classmate Reds. Yung akong binasa Jessie nga rin eh. Sino ba kasi itong si Jessie or si Jessie na ito?
Sa Jessie, kinikilala nito ang mga excluded group na magkaroon ng pantay na oportunidad para mas makilala nila ang kanilang kakayahan at kagalingan.
The best way talaga to teach SPS o science process skills is to teach it in the context of inquiry-based lesson.
Para alagaan tayo ni Mother Earth, kailangan alagaan din siya. At sa pag-aalaga kay Mother Earth, parang sa GTG lang, kasali ka.
Pag binuksan na natin ang carbonated drink, ano yung madalas na nangyayari, classmate Ral?
Kapag binubuksan siya, may bubbles. Tapos, naririnig natin yung fizz. Yung, alam mo yung Tama ba?
Tama. Sige, buksan natin to.
Ayun.
Yun, may narinig ko akong fizz.
Ayan.
Kasali ka.
Kasali ka. Kasali ka.
Kasali ka.
Kasali ka.
Kasali ka.
Kasali ka.
Kasali ka.
Kasali ka.
Kasali ka.
Kasali ka. Kasali ka.
Kasali ka.
Kasali ka.
Maraming salamat. Kami po ay natutuwa na makausap kayo, na makapagbahagi sa inyo. Ito po ang Go Teacher Go, kaagapay ng makabagong guro.
And registered for the parallel workshop that you've posted. Kung hindi pa, there's still time. Later sa health break. And here are some reminders before we begin the program. Please observe the proper wearing of masks. So we require everyone to wear masks. Exclude lang po ako dahil ako po ay host. And don't forget to observe physical distancing. There is a first aid station located outside the auditorium in front of the elementary school science lab. So once you exit there, nandyan po siya. Food and drinks are not allowed inside the auditorium. So kahit po yung mga water bottles nyo, if you want to drink, just exit the auditorium and pwede pong uminom sa labas. You can enter through this door to our left and exit through that the network name and password for connecting to the Wi-Fi in case you want to send anything may be found on the signs around the auditorium. In line with this, we would like to recommend that everyone refrain from using the Wi-Fi network for streaming videos or other bandwidth-intensive apps during this time. We kindly ask for your cooperation in conserving network resources to ensure an optimal experience for all participants. Kasi meron po tayong viewers from Facebook page and also sa YouTube. And later on po, we'll start at 8:30.
Faldeng. I'm 30 years old and I am a general operator. So pumasok ako ng 2013. Ako talaga kaya ako nagtatrabaho is for my family. Hindi lang to sa mga bata or sa amin talagang family namin, kundi para din kina mama since ano na lang sila, umaasa na lang sila sa pensyon at hindi naman kaya kasi nga nagtaas ang yung bad side is syempre mas nahirapan kami sa pamamalengke kasi yung pagkain mas nagmahal after the pandemic. Parang talagang nakaka-pressure na kailangan masustentuhan namin lalo na't mas marami sila sa bahay, mas marami kumakain. Sa to lang, yung mga trabahong talagang pang-bruise ko, marami dito sa Nestle, dito sa loob ng factory. Yung mga pagbubuhat, yung mga pagbabaklas ng makina, panglalaki talaga siya kung tutuusin mo eh. Pero hindi naman kami pinababayaan ni Nestle. Yung talagang, kailangan mo lang talaga ibigay yung lakas mo as babae. Mas na lumakas yung loob namin or mas nagbigay sa amin ng confidence na ay kaya namin magbigay ng suggestion. Kaya may voice kami pwede gamitin para makatulong sa team. Mas na-encourage kaming pumasok dun sa mga leadership na na role.
Okay, wala, mag-volunteer tayo. Ayan, si Miss Man.
Yan yung talagang sinusubukan nating sa mga kababaihan dito sa loob. Kasi kaya naman talaga namin eh.
I have a lot of dreams. I want to become a doctor, I want to become a nurse, a nun actually. But what I wanted is to really help my mom and my family. So what I did is I took business management because I believe that management is a flexible course. And I ended up here in the hospitality industry. Kumbaga, mas napaprioritize yung mga lalaki in terms of other higher positions, or sometimes yung opportunities are really given to men because sometimes they think women are weak or women are hindi masyadong proactive, tahimik lang, reserved.
This team is encountering delays in their daily work tasks. One has a feeling that the delays are due to
With the training that ILO provided, it really upgraded my skill. Nagagamit ko talaga yung soft skills training ng ILO to my day-to-day tasks and activities sa properties. I want to grow and grow and grow pa with the company. So with that training will help me.
Parang yearly na lang na January to March.
About a year after joining Microtel, I have this dream. There's a photo in Microtel na naka-display doon. These are the photos of the leaders. It was taken in the first Microtel. Sabi ko noon, parang my dream is to be part of that photo and become part of the management team. And now I'm included in the photo.
During the pandemic, the International Labour Organization's In Business Soft Skills training inspired hotel managers to be innovative in order to sustain their business through the difficult times. Microtel, with 14 properties throughout the Philippines, participated in the training.
Last year, we had the pandemic. the sales and the operations is really affected. So we have to think of new ways on how to sell our hotel, on how to earn, on how to survive. So the creative thinking module help us to think of the solutions or the projects that we can.
We saw that more of them were really engaged after their session, and we saw that they were able to think outside of the box.
Their TRIPS food and beverage service at the Mall of Asia did just that. The soft skills training inspired them to launch home deliveries of their DIY hamburger kits and rice toppings, bringing in a much-needed income stream.
Food and beverage, the hospitality industry, we still need to go with the flow, the trends, the current trends of society, of the economy. So we really need to keep up with the new trends. So that's where critical thinking comes in, that's where creative thinking comes in. It's a very well-rounded training that will really benefit anyone in the hospitality industry.
The module's methodology and innovative approach also promotes peer-to-peer learning and eliminates the need for an external trainer.
Since we have 14, 15 properties all over the country, it might have been a challenge cascading it to all, but given the design of the program that you have the option to do it online or face-to-face, I have no doubt that this program would be a success in our properties.
The advantage is we get to share a lot of the best practices that we do in the different properties. So sharing and getting inputs from the different properties will help us in our operations in our own properties. And I want to grow and grow and grow pa with the company. So with that training will help me.
The pandemic brought about the acceleration of digitization in many businesses. So upskilling, reskilling of the soft skills training is more important now more than ever.
Soft skills are crucial to increase both employability and productivity among female workers.
Our colleagues are more participative, they offer their ideas more, and they are able to suggest ideas on how to be able to improve our operations.
Companies in various sectors have seen the positive results of the training in their workforce, in their attitude, self-confidence, and in their production performance. Even during a pandemic, the ILO is building a better world for work.
officially begin today's program, I would like to invite everyone to rise for the singing of the Philippine National Anthem, followed by an opening prayer.
Bayang magiliw, pelos ng silanganan, alam ng puso, sa dibdib mo'y buhay. Lupang hinirang, duyan ka ng magiting, sa manlulupig, di ka masisingil, sa dagat at bundok, sa simoy at sa langit mo bangag, ay nilang ang tula at awit sa paglayang tinamahal. Ang kisap ng watawat mo'y nagumpay na nagtitigil, ang bituin at araw niya kailan mapalik magdidilim. Lupa ng araw ng maraming pagsita, buhay langit sa likod. Aming ligaya na ba't may mamagin, at namatay ng dahil sa'yo.
Heavenly Father, we come to you today with humble hearts, seeking your guidance and wisdom as we begin this program. Lord, we ask that you would bless every person who has gathered here today, and that you would be present with us in a special way. We pray that this program would be a time of learning, growth, and fellowship for all of us. Help us to listen to one another with open hearts and open minds, and to support one another as we strive to serve you in all that we do. Please give us the strength and the courage to follow your will, and to use the gifts and talents you have given us to make a positive difference in the world. We pray all of this in your holy name. Amen.
Honored guests, ladies and gentlemen, a pleasant morning to all. Welcome to the STEM and TVET Summit 2024. I am Ivan Mejia from the University of the Philippines National Institute for Science and Mathematics Education Development, or NISMED. And I will be your host for the exciting journey. Today is day one of the STEM in TVET Summit with the theme Reinforcing Future-Ready TVET through Science, Technology, Engineering, and Mathematics, or STEM. This special event is made possible by the effort of our valued partners and co-organizers, namely the International Labor Organization, or ILO, and the Center for Integrated STEM Education Incorporated, or CISTEM. At this juncture, may we call on the UP Diliman Vice Chancellor for Academic Affairs, Dr. Maria Vanessa Lusong Oison, to deliver the welcome address. Ma'am.
STEM in TVET. And for me, as the National Project Coordinator in Women in STEM, I was coming from our Women in STEM program with the U.S. State Department. It was part of the International Visitor Leadership Program. And I was so excited when I came back from that experience. Of that. And I know we've been doing several activities already. And through the visionary leadership of DDG Rose Urdaneta, who was always very, passionate about integrating STEM and TVET. And then, of course, with the leadership of Director Bogalion and, of course, Miss Reds and Miss Helen, this has become a reality that it not only is something that we put in the framework, but it is something that we can see in our training centers, in our schools. And I'm so glad that this is finally happening. Let us congratulate the UP National Institute of Science and Mathematics Education. Palakpakan natin with Doc Sherry. And of course, TESDA with NTI ESD with Director Dave Bogalion. Palakpakan po natin. And of course, our private sector partner, the Center of Integrated STEM, now led by Dr. Melvin Magsayo. Yes, Dr. I'm envisioning, i-own mo na ang Dr. Magsayo. No? So you make me wonder, why is this, how did this become part of the Women in STEM program? So the Women in STEM program was created in 2017. We launched this in 2017. And our goal initially was to motivate, to inspire women to get into STEM-related occupations, no? Particularly those from underprivileged sectors. Because at that time, we had a study in 2011 where we found that jobs were being automated, and most of those who would be affected are women. But of course, as we did the program, we realized that we can't just focus on just women. We have to create that enabling environment so that we would be able not just to empower women, but everyone in general, young people, professionals, there has to be a change of mindset in terms of how we see STEM, We have to change that mindset that we shouldn't be scared of STEM. It is something that we are using. It is something that everyone should be, imbibing as a lifestyle, as a way of life. And so when we started this program in 2017, this was done in 3 countries, Indonesia, Philippines, and Thailand. In the Philippines, we focus primarily on the advancement of opportunities for women in the IT sector. No, because at that time, our study was showing that those working in the BPO sector, business processing outsources sector, were the most vulnerable to automation, which makes sense, right? Because they are working in IT, and if the technology is changing, you have to upgrade those skills. And if we're focused on customer service work, there has to be a change, there has to be a leveling up of these skills. And so this, at first, for the first year, was our focus. And we had 2 priority areas. First was skills development in TVET training, because we were focusing more on women in the underprivileged sectors. And TESDA would be the most closest agency for that to focus on this kind of trainings. So at the time, I remember when we were looking at the statistics of those taking up IT courses, usually they would only have 20% women. They would say we would be so lucky if we had women in our web development classes, game development classes. And we took the challenge, we're going to change that situation. Another thing we also wanted to look at was soft skills training. When we speak about technical skills training, sometimes we say, oh, those who are adept at technical skills would lack the soft skills. But the thing is, it shouldn't be just focusing on those with technical skills, everyone in general. And when the pandemic actually happened, these soft skills were actually challenged, because we were faced with unprecedented events, these disruptions that were happening. We had to tap into our critical skills, creative skills, right? Critical thinking. And this training actually focused on those who were already working in STEM-related occupation and helping them enhance those technical skills so that they can advance in the workplace. So when we focused on skills development for STEM and technical vocation, we did first the hashtag Women Can Do It scholarships. Women Can Do IT, no? Hashtag Women Can Do It scholarship. And we focused on trainings by TESDA. And I remember then they were saying, oh no, why TESDA? Why not, focus on the big training centers, Microsoft, IBM. And I said, but how about those who cannot afford? And that's what TESDA is doing. And, in the last 5 years that we've been implementing, I have become a fan of TESDA, of the way they work to ensure that everybody, gets that right to training. And so we looked at game development, web development, animation. This lady here, this has been shown not just in Bangkok, but in Geneva. But this is our girl. She was a college dropout. She couldn't finish her accounting course. She couldn't tell her grandparents that, Lola, I cannot, this is too hard. I want to drop out. She signed up for our web development course. She was with her best friend on the bus. She saw on Facebook that we had this Women Can Do It scholarship at TESDA. This lady here, she took up web development at MFI. Then she got an internship at Indra. It's a Spanish data analytics company. She took that. She was one of the first batches for robotic process automation. Does anybody know what that is? So they automate customer service functions, and if you see her now, she might have a different color of her hair, but she took it, she really enjoyed it, and up to now, 5 years later, she is a robotic process automation engineer at DXC Technologies. And we're actually flying her to Bangkok to talk about this, to discuss about it. But yeah, when I was in Geneva a month ago, I saw her photo there. And then this is Honey. Honey is our robotic. So it can happen. It can happen to all of you. If you're not in science, you want to go into coding, it is not impossible for you to do that. And this is an example. And Honey is just one of the thousands we have trained for web development. So second, so inspired by her example, we thought, okay, why don't we look into the curriculum? And it was DDG Rose who was actually telling me in a JP Morgan forum, she said, what are we doing about STEMifying TVET? That was her word, STEMifying TVET. And I said, let's do it, let's do it. And with Doc Cheryl, then we met her, I think in December, and that's why our meeting was January. We met and we said, okay, we can do this with the Center for Integrated STEM. And later on in the workshops, our TESDA trainers will talk about it, will share with you about it. So please make sure that you are in these sessions. Miss Mary was with the National TVET Trainers Academy. We had a lot of skeptics at first. But because it was the pandemic, everybody was locked into their screens and actually listening to us from from our homes and from our centers. Second, we designed in-person and online job readiness training guides. So this is another project that we did, again with TESDA. When you go to the TESDA online program, we have the online job readiness because we felt, yes, you have the skills, but are you ready for the job interview? Are you ready to do your resume? Are you ready to do that? And I'm happy to report that I think we have, 6,000 and counting. I'm not anymore checking. I have to check again with Director Dave how many are we on this. But it seems that, people are secretly wanting to learn, but not telling you that they want to, but because they have the platform, such as the TESTA online program, they are able to sign up and go through the course. And finally, we created, because we said, okay, we have such a cool group of people that we get to work with. And we created the STEM Technical Working Group in cooperation with UP, NISMED, TESDA, DOLE. And these are a group of really passionate individuals who want to make sure that STEM is not just for TESDA, but for workforce development as well. The next thing, so these are just some of the, oops, I went advanced. So we had modules. So these were the things that we're doing online, Some of our trainers are surprised, that's what we were making. So this is how it looks like. They were designing matrices, but these were actually the covers of the matrices that they were doing. And this is just a few of the trainer's guide and workbook. So we thought we have to make a guide for the trainer because you have to have a script, but you also have to have a workbook. And the worksheets, later on the trainers will talk about it, was actually a way to engage students in their training. And we went beyond that, no? TESDA actually developed the competency-based curriculum for area-based demand-driven approach. So we didn't just pilot it, but they actually put it, into a TESDA order so that this is guiding them. And these are, as I mentioned, the thousands of women who participated in person and online. And that statistic that they said that they only had 20% in the class, these are 100% women in the classes. As we went along, we saw on the first year it was tough to get women to sign up. But then when they saw it was something that it was normalized, and they would wait. I would see on the Facebook comments, oh, ayan na yung scholarship. Ayan na siya uli. So it was something that they expected. So when they say, oh, women don't want that, no. If you present to women that they have an opportunity to do this, they will, especially if it's an opportunity given to them. And finally, the soft skills training. So this one was more focused on companies. So we worked with IT companies who wanted to focus on empowering their women, helping them advance in their careers. Because yes, you might be an engineer, yes, you might be a scientist, but do you have the motivation to advance? Of course, as women, we have care work responsibilities, While, we would hear stories of women, juggling their work for their PhD, but at the same time, juggling the responsibilities as women. And while you want to, be a successful woman in science, you also want to be a successful mother. And soft skills actually help them negotiate, help them negotiate their way into what they need to do, getting their teams to work. And we created the in-business soft skills training, which we actually piloted with, with Fortune 500 companies here in the Philippines. And for that, for that area, we worked with Investing in Women for Australia and actually coming up with why do we need to invest in women in leadership. And this was also our guide to convince companies because here in the Philippines, and this was the first thing that they told me, why focus on women? We're super empowered. At that time, we were, I think, number 8. Of course, we're no longer number 8 in the Gender Equality Index, right? But I said, is that true? I said, but we are, as women, we are empowered, but we are also empowered to do everything. We shouldn't do everything. We should actually delegate. We should actually get people, our teams, to do this. And this helped us, this business case helped us to convince women organizations and employers confederation to actually look into how are we helping women in the workplace and advance to that. And we actually work with these companies. If you're thinking, these are companies who should know already what they're doing, but they found that investing in soft skills, especially for those who are wishing to advance in the workplace, is actually helpful for them. We work with IBM, Teleperformance, Accenture, Ingram Micro, Emerson, Nestle, all of them were actually wanting to focus and invest on women. And we did an impact evaluation, and across all firms, that participated in this, training led to more collaboration between workers, greater efficiency, and better prioritization of work by employees. It boosted their self-confidence. I can tell you, all our trainers on STEM and TVET actually had their confidence boosted, not only as trainers, but even as individuals themselves. Because the one thing also about the soft skills training, we taught them how to peer facilitate, how to facilitate conversations, learning to listen, learning to process inputs and feedback. Participants from the firms found strong positive effects from structured communication in a more formal setup. In short, they became BFFs. They were able to work better together when they collaborated. And so again, like our scholarship, we had thousands who participated online. The pandemic was an opportunity for the Women in STEM project because it gave us an opportunity to engage online and normalize that kind of engagement. And so as we wrap up, we are in our last 21 days of the program. And we are so happy that it has come to this moment when we are transferring already the knowledge to them. But we're not stopping there. We are going regional. And we are working with the Southeast Asian Ministers of Education Organization, Regional Committee for STEM Education. And we are sharing with them our work. Actually, it's not just here in the Philippines. Through Doc Cheryl also, under the Skills for Prosperity program of the UK, which I was also a part of, we also brought this to Malaysia. So we brought our experience here, because it's not enough that we say we're good, right? It's better if we share it with others and other people grow it. So we brought it to Malaysia, University of Malaya, and CIAS is actually doing it. And we're sharing it there, and hopefully other countries from ASEAN can also, enjoy or also learn from this experience and expand it more. So we'll put that live. We'll have the experts meeting. It's a closed door. It's an internal discussion sharing that. But we will have the 2024 ASEAN UN International Day of Women and Girls in Science. You will see Honey there live talking about their experience, and all the other CEOs who also participated in this to share their experience and inspire also other women in ASEAN and hopefully the world. And and finally, all of this, will come up in the Knowledge Exchange Forum in Chiang Mai, Thailand with Simeo. And let's see, as we move up and also expand this here, we hope also here in the Philippines, you are also sharing your stories on how STEM has changed the way you teach. Because as teachers and trainers, we have that, we have that light within us to inspire our students, that science is more than, it is about, the numeracy skills, but it's also about understanding what life is about. And I think, this opportunity that is given to you has to be passed on, has to be expanded so that, we no longer see the ratings that we have for science and math, right? So I think it begins today when you try to change that narrative already. So with that, I wish you well. Our country director will be here tomorrow to thank all of you for being part of the summit. But in the meantime, please take this opportunity to learn as much as you can on STEM and TVET. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Ms. Lenartes. All I can say is, wow. It's a lot of work, and ILO has been instrumental in empowering women in STEM. It's a lot of work, and we know that it's ending soon, but there's a new journey for ILO. Good luck, Ms. Lenartes. And today we are joined this morning by a diverse group of stakeholders. We have students. Can we see the raise of hands, students? How about teachers? Okay. Education leaders and administrators, representatives from industries and government agencies with a shared mission, navigating the future of TVET through STEM. Please rise as I call your region. Participants from Region 1, Region 2, 3, Region 2. Okay, sorry, sir. 3, Region 3. Dami. Parang ano, 2/3, 1/3. Okay. Region 4A. Ang dami din. Okay. Region 4B. 5, Region 5. Region 6. Region 7. 8. 9, 10, 11. Okay, ma'am, sorry. 11, Region 12. Okay, 13. CAR, BARM, and NCR. Okay. Let me also acknowledge the different institutions present today. We have Alay Kapwa Schooling. Siguro lumabas siya, no? Ateneo de Manila University. Schools Division Offices of Aurora. Zambales, Balanga, Bataan, Mabalacat, Muñoz, Nueva Ecija, Malolos, Olongapo City, Gapan City, yon, nasa likod, Navotas, Pasig, Rizal, San Jose del Monte, okay, Tarlac, and Pampanga. We also have with us today participants from Marikina. NISMED Facebook page. Hello po sa inyong lahat. And on YouTube via NISMED TV. And thank you so much for joining us today. Now at this point, I would like to introduce our next speaker. Deputy Director General Rosana Urdaneta of the Technical Education and Skills Development Authority, or TESDA. Ms. Rosana A. Urdaneta currently holds the position of Deputy Director General for Policies and Planning at the Technical Education and Skills Development Authority, or TESDA, in the Philippines. As Deputy Director General for Policies and Planning, her leadership and foresight has driven TESDA into international prominence, especially with the establishment of the ASEAN TVET Council, or ATC, while securing the relevance of technical vocational education and training, or TVET, at the national level. She is instrumental in spearheading key policy reforms directed at guaranteeing the readiness of the TVET sector for the fourth industrial revolution. She further facilitated the strengthening of industry participation and partnership in TVET through the formulation of blueprint for the TVET sector in the country known as the National Technical Education and Skills Development Plan 2018 to 2022. She is currently the Asia Pacific Economic Cooperation, or APEC, Human Resources Development Working Group Capacity Building Network Coordinator for 2021 to 2022. Her remarkable contributions to the National Manpower and Youth Council and to the growing global recognition of the TVET system in the Philippines have been greatly valued and continue to manifest in TESDA's successes. In place of Deputy Director General Rosana Urdaneta, Director Dave Bugalyon, Director of the National Institute for Technical Education and Skills Development, or NITEST, will read Director General Rosana's Urdaneta's keynote message. Let us welcome Director Dave Bugalyon on stage.
Thank you very much. Let me first recognize, of course, our Vice Chancellor, Dr. Vanessa, who just gave the welcome remarks, and Dr. Cheryl Monterola, of course, our longtime partner in TESDA, who leads UP in this endeavor, and Mr. Linares Viloria, again, another longtime partner. Itong dalawa, partner talaga sila eh. Of the ILO, particularly Women in STEM. Distinguished guests who were actually recognized and acknowledged during the opening remarks and by our MC. I can see here also National Line Agencies representatives, Director Nelly of the DTI, who is championing actually the Philippine Skills Framework, and other national line agencies, other organizations, and students, especially our trainers, instructors, teachers. Magandang umaga po sa ating lahat. Isang masayang TESDA para sa inyo. Well, in behalf of TESDA, well, as mentioned by the MC, I am not Miss DDG Rosana Ordaneta. She has a more beautiful voice, and she's more beautiful than me. So in behalf of Deputy Director General Rosana Ordaneta and TESDA, let me first congratulate the UP National Institute for Science and Mathematics Education Development, or NISMED, led by, of course, Dr. Cheryl, and the ILO Philippines in successfully organizing, after how many years? 4 years, the STEM in Tibet Summit that gathers us today. Well, NISMED and ILO were the same partners that supported TESDA, as shared by Dr. Viloria, in STEMifying. That word actually is used in TESDA. STEMifying our competency standards development, competency-based curriculum development, training delivery, and competency assessment. We thank you for making TESDA a part of this event. The team reinforcing future-ready Tibet through science, technology, engineering, and mathematics fits well with the goal of the Philippine Development Plan and National Technical Education Skills Development Plan to develop Filipino workers who are 4.0 ready. We are grateful that Tibet is the direct medium in promoting STEM. It is very challenging to change the old mindset that the graduates of Tibet are secondary class in the labor market. That Tibet is an alternative to higher education. In industrial economies, Tibet has become a better option, actually. In the Philippines, that stigma is still existing among parents and some employers, but it is surprising that in our data of 2023, there are actually 43% students and graduates of Tibet coming who are college graduates. So what does that mean? Tibet actually is across the education system and also serves our workers and graduates. I'm not promoting actually Tibet, but just seeing the stage, STEM in Tibet, I'm so happy that UP is promoting Tibet. But I would just like to emphasize that as we speak of technology, we need skilled workers technicians, and technologists to propel the machines and perform the jobs. And as we speak of the requirements to cope up with the fourth industrial revolution, we need to develop 4.0 ready workers with higher order thinking skills. In the words of Marilee D. Cristina of the Scientific American and Emerging Technology Steering Committee, I quote, "Technologies that are emerging today will soon be shaping the world tomorrow and well into the future, with impacts to economies and to societies at large. Now that we are well into the fourth industrial revolution, it's critical that we discuss and ensure that humanity is served by these new innovations so that we can continue to prosper." And Pope John Paul II also shared that the future starts today. We have learned our lessons during the pandemic-19 disruptions, so let us better prepared with the upcoming with the current disruption, which is the fourth industrial revolution. Having shared all this, I can say that education and training play a vital role, as also emphasized during the opening remarks of Dr. Vanessa. It plays a vital role in making a technically competent, innovative, creative human resource to be relevant and responsive to the requirements of the fourth industrial revolution. And within the education and training system, science, technology, engineering, mathematics become an imperative basic competencies. TESDA has valued this development, hence the collaboration with ILO and NISMED in conceptualizing how to STEMify TVET that starts in actually the last quarter of 2019. But of course, the continuous meetings, workshops commenced in 2020. We undergone a series of meetings and workshops, and today we can celebrate. We can say that we have enhanced our competency standards, competency curriculum, training delivery, and competency assessment by ensuring that a TVET trainer possesses the competencies in delivering and assessing the STEM knowledge along application in the practical learning process. It has been a discussions after discussions on what is STEM in Tibet. Actually, among us, we have been discussing, isn't it that STEM is part of the 21st century skills? The other opinion is, no, 21st century skills is part of STEM. So it was a chicken and egg issue. Okay? Traditionally, STEM has been considered or appreciated as an academic content, diba? In the learning and assessment processes. But STEM, through this partnership and through these conversations, we appreciated it that it is beyond that academic appreciation. It is beyond academic, a discipline academic content. The STEM framework includes 5 pillars, actually. 4 components. We have the knowledge, and this is what is referred to as the disciplinary knowledge. This is actually the principles in science, the formula in mathematics, and the principles in engineering. So these are actually the disciplinary content of a course. And that is knowledge. The other component is thinking skills. So this actually includes now, the thinking skills includes the 21st century skills. This is now the problem-solving skills, the critical thinking skills, and all other 21st century skills. And the other component is socio-emotional intelligence. And this now leads to having competencies on collaboration, the lifelong learning skills, leadership, work with others as a basic competency, and so forth and so on. And the other is the multi-literacy skills that includes the numerical skills, the digital skills, the cultural skills, entrepreneurial skills. So in conclusion, sabi namin, ay hindi pala malaki yung 21st century skills. Mas popular lang siya. Popular lang siya kasi in the global education community, we always speak of the 21st century skills. But only to see that the 21st century skills is part and component of STEM. In our STEM in Tibet framework, which we developed with the support of NISMED and also ILO, actually it was a project. Yun yung pinento po ni Miss Like. Okay, so we call her usually Miss Like, right? So she has many likes in Facebook. Kasi yung pangalan niya na formal, very Filipina talaga. Okay. So the framework includes actually in Tibet, STEM starts in skills prioritization. When we say skills prioritization, as a process of in Tibet, let me just share with you how we develop a Tibet program and how we implement it and assess it. In the process, the first one is skills prioritization. So we can say that our Tibet programs are demand-driven, okay? Because it is based on labor market intelligence, okay? Industry skills prioritization. And it is very important that it must be demand-driven because at the end, okay, the measure of success is employment. After skills prioritization, we now go to what we call the competency standards development. And this competency standards development is done through functional analysis. In the industry, we call it before the DACUM, development of curriculum. But in our process, we call it functional analysis. Okay, so we are looking forward actually connecting to the Philippine Skills Framework of the DTI, because that would be very helpful. That is already a product of industry. So in terms of grouping occupational and having occupational titles, nandun po. So the other framework is in the development competency standards. As I've mentioned, STEM-related knowledge and skills are found in the units of competencies. Okay? In the next process is in the competency-based training curriculum development. We have introduced actually the contextual learning matrix as a tool in identifying the STEM knowledge, STEM skills, and how to deliver these STEM knowledge, STEM skills in the actual or practical learning sessions. And the other one is competency assessment. We should not only we enhance our competency assessment, that we should not be only assessing the skills learning outcomes, but it should also emphasize the soft skills during assessment. And the other one is also in the job placement. So as of today, we have already trained a number of Tibet trainers across the country and is still in progress. TESDA has embraced this advocacy on STEM, and we are still continuously improving our development, delivery, and assessment process. And we have a number actually of outputs out of this endeavor. We have already the manual in STEMifying Tibet, and this was also uploaded in the TESDA online program. So anyone who wants how to, the process, the pedagogy of teaching it, it's already in the TESDA online program. We've also developed a manual, the manual that would guide all trainers, all master trainers in sharing this, in multiplying this among trainers across the country. So in conclusion, it would be very difficult for our educators and graduates to thrive in the 4.0 economy if we do not educate and train them to be 21st century teachers or trainers and workers through STEM. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much for your message, Deputy Director General Rosana Ordaneta, delivered by Director Bongalion. And we will now award the Certificate of Appreciation to our speaker, Deputy Director General Rosana Ordaneta, which will be received by Director Dave Bongalion, Director of the National Institute for Technical Education and Skills Development. May I invite Dr. Sherilyn Monterola, Director of UP NISMED, together with representatives from our organizers, Ms. Lenartes Veloria from ILO, and Mr. Melvin P. Magsayo, Executive Director of CISTEM Incorporated. Sir? Let me read the citation. This certificate of appreciation is given to Rosana Ordaneta for sharing her time, knowledge, expertise, and insights as keynote speaker during the STEM and TVET Summit with the theme Reinforcing Future-Ready TVET Through Science, Technology, Engineering, and Mathematics, held on 25 to 26th of January 2024. Given this 25th day of January 2024 in Diliman, Quezon City, Philippines, signed by Ms. Lenartes Veloria, National Program Coordinator of ILO Philippines, Sherilyn C. Monterola, Director of UP NISMED, and Melvin P. Magsayo, Executive Director of CISTEM Incorporated. Thank you again, Deputy Director General Rosana Ordaneta and Director Dave Bongalion. We would also like to acknowledge all the other participants and guests whom we have not recognized earlier, and thank you so much for coming to the STEM in TVET Summit, and we hope that you will learn a lot and enjoy this event. Today, we have the CEO of the IDEA Group, Dr. Corinne Veradi. To know more about their organization, let's watch this video.
Every day, our students wake up being told of a world of global opportunities. They are told not to worry, that digital technology can only bring them closer to their hopes and dreams. So the computers, tablets, and mobiles poured in. And then books just became e-books. But their dreams still didn't come true. We keep telling our children to strive for the best, to always be a winner in life. But what if we are not giving them what they need to get there? That's what we realized at IDEA. It's about the entire journey and not just the first step. Others aggregate. We create. Creating dreams means creating realities. So we created it all, from content to platform to assessments and detailed data analytics. We have partnered with not-for-profit organizations, schools, and governments. Our active users are growing every week. 7 out of 10 users of IDEA preferred us to our leading competitors. And we scored 95% for user satisfaction. A study even showed that people were 4 times more likely to complete their learning goals when using IDEA. So we dive into the future with interactive virtual reality, artificial intelligence to personalize learning, automated assessments, and global multi-language support. IDEA is leading the way in interactive, data-driven, full-solution education. We may have started small, but we did what our users do best. We learned. We work together with students, parents, teachers, and governments to better prepare our users to take on the world. Because if we go global, so do they. IDEA. harnessing the power of digital to transform education. Imagine a world turned upside down, where democracy reigns and learning is unrestrained. And in this world connected by technology, students rise to seize the day. A world where education is first, where girls equal boys and boys equal girls. Where it doesn't matter where you are from, learning virtually is the equalizer. You can go at your own pace because you are the master of your fate. Imagine a world where a school is in your hand, so you can learn to tell your own story, where interactivity is learning and learning is your virtual glory. So now, the only difference between you and that life goal is just a click away. The best for you is the same for all, where you learn about science to save our world and count like there is no tomorrow. You read for meaning to create your voice. You are here for good, with no time to borrow. So study hard, just like the ones before you. But this time, you are learning with a digital twist, because the world has changed and learning has too. Global learning is center stage, and there is no need to turn the page. The wonders and mysteries of the world at large, now in the hands of all who learn. Imagine a world with a global virtual school, where digital learning is in constant supply, not as the enemy, but as our ally. You join the digital revolution, and in that, we all make a better tomorrow.
I'm Sarah Jane Gamboa Paldeng. I'm 30 years old and I am a general operator. So pumasok ako ng 2013. Ako talaga kaya ako nagtatrabaho is for my family. Hindi lang to sa mga bata or sa amin talagang family namin, kundi para din kina mama since ano na lang sila, umaasa na lang sila sa pensyon at hindi naman kaya kasi nga nagtaas ang yung bad side is syempre mas nahirapan kami sa pamamalengke kasi yung pagkain mas nagmahal after the pandemic. Parang talagang nakaka-pressure na kailangan masustentuhan namin lalo na't mas marami sila sa bahay, mas marami kumakain. Sa to lang, yung mga trabahong talagang pang-brusko, marami dito sa Nestle, dito sa loob ng factory. Ay, yung mga pagbubuhat, yung mga pagbabaklas ng makina, panglalaki talaga siya kung tutuusin mo eh. Pero hindi naman kami pinababayaan ni Nestle. Yung talagang, kailangan mo lang talaga ibigay yung lakas mo as babae. Mas na lumakas yung loob namin or mas nagbigay sa amin ng confidence na ay kaya namin magbigay ng suggestion. Kaya may voice kami pwede gamitin para makatulong sa team. Mas na-encourage kaming pumasok dun sa mga leadership na role.
Okay, wala, mag-volunteer tayo. Ayan, si Miss Man.
Yan yung talagang sinusubukan nating sa mga kababaihan dito sa loob. Kasi kaya naman talaga namin eh.
Ladies and gentlemen, we have now come to the next part of our program, which is our first plenary session, a fireside chat on leveraging STEM in TVET. It is my privilege to introduce our esteemed speaker for this plenary session, Dr. Karin Barady. Dr. Karin Barady founded the global digital education company IDEA in 2014. He has completed a Bachelor of Commerce, Masters of Finance, Masters of International Relations with first-class honors, and a PhD at the London School of Economics. During his academic career, Dr. Barady was an associate at the American University of Beirut and a lecturer at the Witwatersrand University Business School, specializing in digital transformation and educational technology strategy in emerging markets. Dr. Barady was the chairperson of the Education Innovation Summit in South Africa and the current chair of the World Youth Education Trust. As a CEO of IDEA, an award-winning edtech platform, content and training solution, as well as a Microsoft education partner, Dr. Barady has led the creation of digital education solutions for school, TVET, and tertiary students, as well as teachers in 9 countries with over 2,000 courses, 65,000 digital activities, as well as over 15,000 assessments. IDEA has worked on large-scale public-private partnership projects in crisis global health and education projects aligned to the United Nations Sustainable Development Goals with a vision of reducing technological inequalities in gender, education, faith-based and low-income communities across the Middle East, Africa, and Southeast Asia. Please join me in giving a warm welcome to Dr. Karin Barady. Sir. This fireside chat on leveraging STEM in TVET will be moderated by Ms. Karen Davila, UN Women National Goodwill Ambassador for the Philippines. Last October 2023, the UN Women appointed Ms. Karen Davila as a National Goodwill Ambassador for the Philippines. She is an award-winning journalist, news anchor, and television radio program host who is a constant advocate for women and children's rights. In her role as a Goodwill Ambassador for Women, she sets out to emphasize the role of women in development and nation building. Ms. Karen Davila, please.
Hello, good morning. Good morning, everybody. I think the graphics is funny because it covers the people. But anyway, I hope you can see us. So I'm Karen Davila. So I am a broadcast journalist and I work with UN Women now. And it's a pleasure to meet you, sir. So I think let's start with Dr. Barady. Tell us about the IDEA Group. What is it exactly?
Thank you. Thank you very much. And it's an honor to be here today. And I love the initial focus that we've had about women in STEM. I think my journey when I looked 10 years ago, I'd been working for 10 years in building schools and training institutions, bricks and mortar institutions. And we looked at what is the key priority across the emerging market. And it was around the dropout rates of girls in STEM. So our entire group was actually founded around a mission around grades 7, 8, and 9 in high school to try to ensure that girls do not drop STEM subjects and that we can see them in the long-term sustainable future in terms of careers. But since COVID, we've reflected on what does it mean for us to be delivering digital STEM programs to an entire population. And so at the moment, we really focus on a virtual school. So looking at how do we democratize access to STEM programs, because otherwise we find that a lot of students are not even able to attend a STEM program, and so therefore it becomes a very easy option to look for an alternative that's outside of that, and that impacts our labor markets. And the other area that we've focused on is developing technology to allow collaboration in STEM, and so that looks at multi-institutional collaboration, as well as creating content and assessment that will really help us when we start looking into vocational learning and TVET programs. And some of what you had seen up on the screen was really about how do we deliver great content mastery? How do we make sure that that's our focus, that outcomes are our focus, and not just that the technology is showy or that it's shiny, but really how do we use that technology to deliver to our students?
So how big are you in the Philippines? How many students do you have?
Philippines is new for us. That's why I'm very happy to be here today. So we have 1.4 million virtual school students around the world in 9 countries, and 200 staff members who work on a daily basis in creating material. And actually, it was interesting listening to the conversation because 80% of my workforce comes from TVET background. And of that, when we started, we had 0 females who were able to engage in the development and technical aspects of that. So I think with the directionality and intentionality that we had as an organization to deliver to marginalized and gender biased communities, we then changed that to 70% of our workforce coming from technical female backgrounds in terms of education. Our push now is to look at how, with what we do, can that apply to the Philippines? And certainly in summits like this, it's about looking at, well, how does STEM actually impact in vocational education?
So what you're saying, of the 1.4 million students that you have now in 9 countries, 70% of those enrolled are women.
Absolutely, yes.
And was that easy?
No, it's not easy, but it is about, as I mentioned, intentionality. So I think we have to go out with a view to wanting to create that subscription group, to wanting to ensure that there is a gender representation, and that actually that gender representation takes it one step further, because it's very easy for someone like me leading an organization to really forget those who are marginalized or those who have been left out of the STEM conversation. And historically, that has been women. And I think we've just got to make sure that we're constantly internalizing those conversations so that we make sure that we're explicit.
All right. And among the 9 countries, what is your biggest market?
So South Africa at the moment is one of our biggest markets. I'm originally Australian, but I have worked in South Africa, and we do 100% of our work is around public sector deployments. So even though private institutions, I think, are very important in this space, we work with government around how do we align our public-private partnerships? How do we look at what industry is doing in terms of the skills that they require? And then how do we assist government to deliver really large-scale projects that are sustainable and that do touch on those nerves around democracy and education?
So the 1.4 million students, if a student wants to enroll in the program of Idea Group, do they have to pay or is it free?
So it's free, but we work with funders and project-based, and from a sustainability point of view, both from a company, but also I think for the sustainability of systemic change. I really believe that public sector has a vested interest in seeing large-scale projects going forward. So we're always free to the end user, but then working with our funders in how do we cover that population.
So what are the current programs for now?
So at the moment, as you would have seen, we start from early childhood development, so 3-year-olds teaching numeracy and literacy, right through to STEM education in primary and secondary school, into senior high school, and then into TVET and vocational learning, both in school and as post-school programs, as well as then partnering with universities. So we offer them on the solution as well, so that we can apply for scholarships and help students to be able to get to global online learning programs anywhere in the world.
So you have a pretty big market. You're talking about the primary age till the working age. That's the market.
It is a big one. I mean, as I mentioned, we started in grades 7, 8, and 9, and we thought that was where we were going to end it. But of course, you know, when we start looking at, well, what are the systemic patterns that are challenging us, we go backwards down to primary school, and we understand that we've got to focus. I think what the pandemic did for us was it reminded us that these are not pillars. So a student learning in early childhood development right through to TVET is a journey. It's an entire life's journey, and I think we can't then therefore see these as sections. What we've then spent a lot of time doing was bridging between that senior high school and high school space into TVET, because if we don't make sure that those foundations of learning are there, we're really going to struggle to kind of create them as students get into adulthood.
All right, so now you have members of government that are in the audience. I think, where would the Idea Group fall into in the Philippine landscape? We have the K-12 program. And a few questions about STEM. There was a recent report that the Philippines ranks the lowest, I think, in ASEAN with a gender gap measurement when it comes to STEM. Where would the IDEA Group want to focus in the Philippine market?
Yeah, and I think those results are similar to, say, South Africa, where we work, and the Philippines and South Africa face similar challenges where we have appetite, demand. We actually have an amazing enabled environment, but there are just challenges that we're seeing in terms of the equality of learning. Where we really focus is looking at the gaps. So we can't just identify the challenges and the problems. We need to start looking at some of the solutions. The problem that we often have is that we can assess a student, but then we struggle to circle back to work out how that student actually needs to remediate to pick up those skills and those competencies. So, you know, we talk about competency infusion and not just competency based, because we need to take small granular steps to being able to help each individual student understand where their challenges are in their education and what they can undertake to remediate that. Technology poses probably the greatest impact positively to do that, because it can give feedback where teachers are struggling with their own workload to not be able to, where parents may not be able to, but it needs to not just give a mark. We need to be looking at how do we actually use that as a remediation tool, and that's what we do. So we really do look at baseline diagnostic assessment, assisting with that, but not leaving it at that point, and actually looking at great digital interactive content to be able to circle back and help that student.
When you talk about the diagnostic part of this conversation, does this mean, for example, let's talk about a grade 1 student, 7 years old in a public school, let's say in Tondo, Manila. Is that a market for you, and how would you approach that? Is it an individual student, or the whole school, the whole town, or the whole city?
I mean, I think from our point of view, obviously, it comes down to the student, but actually a community shift is really important. A community, an institutional shift in our mindsets, because, you know, we're talking about vocational education today, but really, we're talking about a grade 1 student being a future vocational student, where the majority of our population are going to be going through some form of vocational training program. And if we rethink the concept of vocational to say, well, it's actually education facing industry, and that it's not, that it's less aspirational than higher education or tertiary programs, but actually that it's much more directed, we have to see a grade 1 student as being a former employee of ours, a former contributor to our economy. And so we have to then see them inside of the context that they live in. And that is not about pulling students out. So we've seen mass urbanization in the countries that we work in post-COVID. And that's because families are looking for economic opportunities elsewhere. The challenge is it's put such pressure on those urban areas that there are not enough jobs, or there are not enough skilled workforce to fill those jobs. And so I think we need to be looking at how do we provide education in situ to students in their own contexts around a community that then grows over time. So for me, it's a long-term journey for that grade 1 student, but it's an important one.
Yeah, but then for the IDEA Group, for example, you are coming into the Philippines. How are you going to market the IDEA Group's vocational STEM training program? Are you going to partner with, for example, the Department of Education, SHED, or TESDA? I don't think it's practical to approach it, frankly, per student at this point.
Sure, no, I agree with you. In terms of our approach, strategic approach, it is that our student is first, but that our strategy is through partners. And so all over the world, whether that's UN-funded projects or international global donor-funded projects, or even locally sourced projects that we work together with universities, with TVET organizations, and with school groups, we deliver those programs in alignment with public sector standards.
So for example, if it's a program that you have and somebody here is from Mindanao and they would like to buy the IDEA Group for, let's say, a small town in Mindanao to focus on a certain group of women in Mindanao, what would that look like, for example? Are we talking about a few months training? Do they get a certificate after? How does that work? Is the content given to them that would have very poor internet service? How does that look?
Yeah, I think online learning, to your point, is an infrastructure is part of our learning that we have to go through in digital if we're going to see digital education innovation continue, because electricity and connectivity are two of the major blockers that we find. And so we've created, so we're not an online platform. We can go offline, hybrid, we can create hotspots in that community. So you can actually come into a range and then still have a cloud-derived solution on your phone. And so most of our users, even when they report that they're going to use a tablet or a laptop computer, end up using their mobile phones, especially in the supplementary or discrete learning space. So we've anticipated the infrastructure challenges. Now, on the community challenges, it's really important that we do framework and mapping. So we have teams that literally work on how do we customize whatever we're focusing on. So in industry skill alignment, we can't have a one-size-fits-all because each of the industries and the sectors have different skill requirements that we need. We work a lot with mining companies. So we would work around mining communities to deliver a virtual school that suits the needs of a long-term career.
And do you put up the virtual school?
Yes, absolutely. Yeah, we do the entire pipeline to being able to ensure. So some students will learn at home and then some will need community-based infrastructure.
But it's very difficult for a student to learn at home, because just because the lesson is there or the material is there doesn't mean they understand it. That's the role of the teacher, to contextualize it for them.
Yeah, and I think the role of teachers is so critical, but we're seeing a consistent challenge with how many teachers can give personalized one-on-one learning to students because of the weight that is placed on teachers at the moment. And that's why I also advocate for teachers not having to be content creators on top of being teachers, because they can't take the weight. That's not what they're employed to do. And 1 or 2 or 3 jobs at one time is unrealistic. So we try and take that weight off by creating the content and the material so that we can create that personalized learning environment. But it doesn't take long for a student to be able to get into the flow. What we do is we supplant self-directed learning and lesson inside of the material. We cannot assume that our students are self-directed from day one. It is a learned skill. And I think particularly in TVET, and then asking the question around STEM, we must ensure that the question of why should we learn STEM and how do we learn STEM is important to our learners. So we're not just glossing over the fact that they will learn STEM because we've created maybe a job market link. That self-direction is something that we really must focus on as a community.
So based on your global experience, how can STEM be further leveraged in technical vocational education and training?
I think the first part is for us to accept that if we're going to be promoting innovative sectors, and we're going to be talking about AI and fintech and in medtech, we must adopt them inside of our own educational technology sector. I think we're behind the curve globally when it comes to digital pedagogy. And so, and since the pandemic ended, we returned everything to bricks and mortar and we thought, okay, well, everything is going to be okay. But actually we need to be looking at innovation in our own sector. And particularly with STEM, it's a low-hanging fruit for us to ensure equality. If we can innovate in how we deliver STEM programs, we'll see a greater push through into our vocational and TVET programs. I also think the other area that we need to look at is digital transformation. How do we work in private partner and public partnerships and ensure that private sector is learning as much as public sector? Because we often think we engage private sector to inform public sector. Well, actually, I think private sector needs to be a lot more engaged in what does a sustainable large-scale project look like when deployed out of public sector. And if we can align those two and harmonize those goals, I think we'll see a lot more STEM-based education or STEM-infused education go forward.
All right, since you're coming into the Philippines, hopefully this will be your 10th country, so to speak, right? Because you're present and active in 9 countries. You have decision makers in the room and stakeholders in the room. What would you want to say to them?
I'd want to say that it's very important, and our mission and vision is very much around how do we customize, localize, top quality global best practices. So whilst we still may infuse a global concept around education, we need to do so in the Philippines context, and we do that in every country. What we publish is locally relevant, and we're prepared to do so today. So please, if you are interested, come and see me.
All right, I'll get your number later for UN Women. Thank you so much, Dr. Corin Varadi, the CEO of Idea Group. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you very much to our guest speaker, Dr. Corin Varadi, and to our moderator, Ms. Karen Davila. We will now award the certificate of our appreciation to our speaker, Dr. Karin Barity. May I invite Dr. Oison, Dr. Monterola, Ms. Viloria, and Mr. Magsayo on stage once again to award the certificate. Please allow me to read the certificate. This certificate of appreciation is given to Karin Barity for sharing his time, knowledge, expertise, and insights as a speaker during the STEM and TVET Summit with the theme Reinforcing Future-Ready TVET through Science, Technology, Engineering, and Mathematics, held on 25 to 26 January 24, given this 25th day of January 2024 in Diliman, Quezon City, Philippines, signed Ms. Leonardes Viloria, Dr. Sharon C. Monterola, and Mr. Melvin P. Magsaya. Sir? We will also award the same certificate to Ms. Karen Davila.
I still have a panel. You don't have to award me now. Yeah.
Okay po. Later na lang po. Thank you po. Thank you very much po. And again, thank you very much to our guest speaker, Dr. Karin Varady, and to Ms. Karen Davila for moderating the fireside chat. Thank you as well, Vice Chancellor Lusong Oison. And Dr. Monterola and Ms. Viloria and Mr. Magsayo. I would also like to invite everyone for a group photo to document this event. To those who are here in the lower area, please stay in your respective seats. But for those who are in the mezzanine, please stand so you can be seen later on. Let's start with my right. Okay, so ang ating pong mga photographers. Okay, give us your best smile kahit po most of us are naka-mask. So from my right. Dito po, tingin po tayo dito. Yung mga nasa mezzanine po, dito po ang ating mga photographers. Ready? Okay. Next naman po is here, front shot. So si Sir Chris saka si Sir Jerry ay pupunta po dito sa stage taking photo. Smile. Lapit na break. And finally, to my left, doon po ulit, tingin po ulit tayo doon. Yung mga nasa mezzanine po, dito naman po tayo titingin. Okay? Ready? This side po. 1, 2, 3, smile. And that concludes the first half of our morning session. We would also like to remind everyone to refrain from using the Wi-Fi network for streaming videos or other bandwidth-intensive apps during this time. We will now take a 15-minute break for coffee and morning snacks and network with each other. Please be back at exactly 10:30 a.m. for the second part of the morning session.
National Institute for Science and Mathematics Education Development, or UP NISMED, is a research and extension unit of the University of the Philippines. Guided by its mandate to improve science and mathematics education, NISMED performs three major functions: research, curriculum development, professional development, and extension services. Through the years, NISMED has been generating new knowledge regarding science and mathematics teaching in the country. Research outputs, such as teaching materials, are tried and tested to teachers and students inside the classroom. Relevant and innovative teaching materials are made available online and at NISMED publications for distribution. In addition, NISMED is highly involved in the framing of the National Science and Mathematics Basic Education Curricula. Equipped with subject area specialists, NISMED offers professional development programs which cater to the needs of teachers and educators in the country and Asia-Pacific region. These training programs deepen teachers' understanding of the subject areas they teach. NISMED promotes science teaching through inquiry and teaching mathematics through problem solving. Not only it conducts training programs, but also mentors science and mathematics teachers in the elementary and secondary levels. NISMED also promotes lesson study, a school-based teacher professional development model which originated in Japan and is now gaining popularity in the country. To reach out to various communities, NISMED uses different platforms online. It also ventured into television to popularize science among general viewers and used radio to reach out to more teachers and the public.
Ito po ang programang sadyang hinangdog ng UP NISMED.
To further its extension services, NISMED regularly conducts stargazing activities to accommodate school requests. It regularly opens its laboratories, providing opportunities for students to learn science and mathematics concepts and practice their applications. To conduct more effective programs and activities, NISMED partners with both local and international organizations. Committed to excellence, NISMED programs have continuously been achieving awards and recognitions. Since its establishment in 1964, NISMED continues its journey of commitment and service to lead the nation in science and mathematics education.
Gusto namin po kayong pasalamatan sapagkat patuloy po ang inyong pagsama sa amin sa Go Teacher Go.
One of the goals of mathematics teaching is to give opportunities for students to experience transformation.
Ang simulation na to ay ina-allow yung learner para explore yung isang fragment ng DNA molecule.
May tuturing na cross-cutting concept o theme ang food security sa pagtuturo sapagkat
kaya nitong tupugin o pagtagdi-tagdiin ang iba't ibang konseptong pag-adhang at maging ang mga konseptong sakop ng iba pang mga disiplina.
Ako pares sa'yo, classmate Reds. Yung akong binasa Jessie nga rin eh. Sino ba kasi itong si Jessie or si Jessie na ito?
Sa Jessie, kinikilala nito ang mga excluded group na magkaroon ng pantay na oportunidad para mas makilala nila ang kanilang kakayahan at kagalingan.
The best way talaga to teach SPS o science process is to teach it in the context of inquiry-based lesson.
Para alagaan tayo ni Mother Earth, kailangan alagaan din siya. At sa pag-aalaga kay Mother Earth, parang sa GTG lang, kasali ka.
Pag binuksan na natin ang carbonated drink, ano yung madalas na nangyayari, classmate Raz?
Kapag binubuksan siya, may bubbles. Tapos, naririnig natin yung fizz. Yung, alam mo yung Tama ba?
Tama. Sige, buksan natin to.
Ayun.
Yun, may narinig ko akong fizz.
Ayan.
Kasali ka.
Kasali ka. Kasali ka.
Kasali ka.
Kasali ka.
Kasali ka.
Kasali ka.
Kasali ka.
Kasali ka.
Kasali ka.
Kasali ka. Kasali ka.
Kasali ka.
Kasali ka.
Maraming salamat. Kami po ay natutuwa na makausap kayo, na makapagbahagi sa inyo. Ito po ang Go Teacher Go, kaagapay ng makabagong guro.
Today, we are witnessing the great conjunction of Jupiter and Saturn.
Teaching science and mathematics through storytelling.
Teacher time out.
Feeling the mental health impact of the pandemic.
Building water rockets. A narrative from the Tubata.
This is Tubata Hari Natural Park.
Science and mathematics of toy. Second one, it is pick up and ready to stick at the same time, letting them fall.
I'm Sarah Jane Gamboa Paldeng. I'm 30 years old and I am a general operator. So pumasok ako ng 2013. Ako talaga kaya ako nagtatrabaho is for my family. Hindi lang to sa mga bata or sa amin talagang family namin, kundi para din kina mama since ano na lang sila, umaasa na lang sila sa pensyon at hindi naman kaya kasi nga nagtaas ang yung bad side is syempre mas nahirapan kami sa pamamalengke kasi yung pagkain mas nagmahal after the pandemic. Parang talagang nakaka-pressure na kailangan masustentuhan namin lalo na't mas marami sila sa bahay, mas marami kumakain. Sa to lang, yung mga trabahong talagang pang-bruce ko, marami dito sa Nestle, dito sa loob ng factory. Yung mga pagbubuhat, yung mga pagbabaklas ng makina, panglalaki talaga siya kung tutuusin mo eh. Pero hindi naman kami pinababayaan ni Nestle. Yung talagang, kailangan mo lang talaga ibigay yung lakas mo as babae. Mas na lumakas yung loob namin or mas nagbigay sa amin ng confidence na ay kaya namin magbigay ng suggestion. Kaya may voice kami pwede gamitin para makatulong sa team. Mas na-encourage kaming pumasok dun sa mga leadership na role.
Okay, wala, mag-follow tayo. Ayan, si Miss Maan.
Yan yung talagang susubukan nating sa mga kababaihan dito sa loob. Kasi kaya naman talaga namin eh.
I have a lot of dreams. I want to become a doctor, I want to become a nurse, a nun actually. But what I wanted is to really help my mom and my family. So what I did is I took business management because I believe that management is a flexible course. And I ended up here in the hospitality industry. Kumbaga, mas napaprioritize yung mga lalaki in terms of other higher positions, or sometimes yung opportunities are really given to men because sometimes they think women are weak or women are hindi masyadong proactive, tahimik lang, reserve.
This team is encountering delays in their daily work tasks. Mona has a feeling that the delays are due to
With the training that ILO provided, it really upgraded my skill. Nagagamit ko talaga yung soft skills training ng ILO to my day-to-day tasks and activities sa properties. I want to grow and grow and grow pa with the company. So with that training will help me.
Parang yearly na lang na January to March.
About a year after joining Microtel, I have this dream. There's a photo in Microtel na naka-display doon. These are the photos of the leaders. It was taken in the first Microtel. Sabi ko noon, parang my dream is to be part of that photo and become part of the management team. And now I'm included in the photo.
During the pandemic, the International Labour Organization's In Business Soft Skills training inspired hotel managers to be innovative in order to sustain their business through the difficult times. Microtel, with 14 properties throughout the Philippines, participated in the training.
Last year, we had the pandemic. The sales and the operations is really affected. So we have to think of new ways on how to sell our hotel, on how to earn, on how to survive. So the creative thinking module to help us to think of the solutions or the projects that we can.
We saw that more of them were really engaged after their session, and we saw that they were able to think outside of the box.
Their TRIPS food and beverage service at the Mall of Asia did just that. The soft skills training inspired them to launch home deliveries of their DIY hamburger kits and rice toppings, bringing in a much-needed income stream.
Food and beverage, the hospitality industry, we still need to go with the flow, the trends, the current trends of society, of the economy. So we really need to keep up with the new trends. So that's where critical thinking comes in, that's where creative thinking comes in. It's a very well-rounded training that will really benefit anyone in the hospitality industry.
The module's methodology and innovative approach also promotes peer-to-peer learning and eliminates the need for an external trainer.
Since we have 14, 15 properties all over the country, it might have been a challenge cascading it to all, but given the design of the program that you have the option to do it online or face-to-face, I have no doubt that this program would be a success in our properties.
The advantage is we get to share a lot of the best practices that we do in the different properties. So sharing and getting inputs from the different properties will help us in our operations in our own properties. And I want to grow and grow and grow pa with the company. So with that training will help me.
The pandemic brought about the acceleration of digitization in many businesses. So upskilling, reskilling of the soft skills training is more important now more than ever.
Soft skills are crucial to increase both employability and productivity among female workers.
Our colleagues are more participative, they offer their ideas more, and they are able to suggest ideas on how to be able to improve our operations.
Companies in various sectors have seen the positive results of the training in their workforce, in their attitude, self-confidence, and in their production performance. Even during a pandemic, the ILO is building a better world for work. In the Philippines, women in the STEM sector often hold low-skilled positions. As a consequence, women are 2.3 times more likely to lose their jobs to automation than their male counterparts. In addition, they also face more challenges in the workplace, such as gender inequality, limited progress in their roles, and job insecurity.
Positions occupied by the women are often laborers, leaving them with little time for training and skills building.
In order to continue improving female workers' skills during the pandemic, the International Labour Organization adapted their in-business training to be entirely online. To make this happen, the ILO partnered with the Employers Confederation of the Philippines, ECOP, and together they launched the online training program with Nestlé in early 2021.
The soft skills training equips our employees, teams, and leaders themselves to be able to maintain a certain level of engagement and connection despite the pandemic.
True or false, the first step of critical thinking is to analyze the information that you have. Is this true or false?
The training covers creative thinking, reaching a consensus, problem solving, working in a team, critical thinking, leadership, and time management. Improving these soft skills empowers women and ensures them more opportunities both in the workplace and in their personal lives.
Yung natutunan namin po dun sa training is yun nga na makikipag-interact po sa visor na magbe-benefit po sa parehas na side, yung magkakaroon po ng advantage sa akin and advantage din po sa supervisor.
So yung training na to, maganda siya kasi it prepared me for more bigger challenges, bigger role na pwede ibigay sa akin, na pwede ko siyang gamitin, hindi lang siguro sa trabaho, pati sa personal na buhay.
Sobrang gumanda yung trabaho ko dahil nga through communication, through teamwork dun sa mas nagamit ko siya kahit na same ang position ko. Nagkaroon ako ng volunteerism work.
Pero ang kagandahan kasi nung training ng soft skills is mas na-engage yung mga kababaihan natin na mag-engage dun sa problem solving. Kasi syempre pag problem o mga dismantling na ng makina, normally mga lalaki na yung kasama. Though kasama din naman kami, pero mas nagbigay sa amin ng confidence na kaya namin magbigay ng suggestion. Kaya may voice kami pwede gamitin para makatulong sa team.
Okay, if wala, mag-volunteer tayo.
Over 300 women at Nestlé have already benefited from the program.
This soft skills training has improved capabilities of our women employees. It has improved their confidence and added character.
Everyone wants to reach their full potential, and the in-business soft skills trainings help people do just that. Even during a pandemic, we are building a better world for work.
Every day, our students wake up being told of a world of global opportunities. They are told not to worry, that digital technology can only bring them closer to their hopes and dreams. So the computers, tablets and mobiles poured in. And then books just became e-books. But their dreams still didn't come true. We keep telling our children to strive for the best, to always be a winner in life. But what if we are not giving them what they need to get there? That's what we realized at IDEA. It's about the entire journey, and not just the first step. Others aggregate. We create. Creating dreams means creating realities. So we created it all, from content to platform to assessments and detailed data analytics. We have partnered with not-for-profit organizations, schools, and governments. Our active users are growing every week. 7 out of 10 users of IDEA preferred us to our leading competitors. And we scored 95% for user satisfaction. A study even showed that people were 4 times more likely to complete their learning goals when using IDEA. So we dive into the future with interactive virtual reality, artificial intelligence to personalize learning, automated assessments, and global multi-language support. IDEA is leading the way in interactive, data-driven, full-solution education. We may have started small, but we did what our users do best. We learnt. We work together with students, parents, teachers, and governments to better prepare our users to take on the world. Because if we go global, so do they. IDEA, harnessing the power of digital to transform education.
and coffee break. And I'd also, again, to extend our warm welcome to our online participants through Facebook and YouTube. We are still streaming live via the UP NISMED Facebook page and the NISMED TV YouTube channel. We will now proceed to our panel discussion on developing STEM-capable workers for the economy. Our first panel discussant is Dr. Sherilyn C. Monterola. Dr. Sherilyn C. Monterola is our current director of the University of the Philippines National Institute for Science and Mathematics Education Development, or UP NISMED. A few of the programs that she has developed or is currently involved with include the following: STEAM, Science, Technology, Engineering, Arts, Agriculture, and Mathematics Innovation Program for Senior High School, STEM Education Master Course for Teachers, 3D Printing Curriculum for High School, Development of Competency Framework and Modules on Advanced Manufacturing, and Data Science for Education, among others. The next panel is Ms. Ninette Fernando, Advisor at the Employment Confederation of the Philippines, or TVET, and Skills. Ms. Ninette Fernando started her career as a researcher at the School of Labor and Industrial Relations of the University of the Philippines. She went on to hone her skills in human resources during her stints at some of the biggest food companies in the country, where she served in human resource positions. At present, she is a senior HR consultant of the Employers Confederation of the Philippines, or ECO, where she has conducted several researches, developed the digital self-assessment checklist for compliance, and facilitated the soft skills training among various associations and groups, particularly for women workers. And the last panel discussant is Ms. Nelly Nita De Lira, the Executive Director of the Philippine Trade Training Center, or PTTC, Department of Trade and Industry, or DTI. Ms. Nelly Nita De Lira started her career as a radio and television announcer, and later on joined the government through the Department of Tourism, where she led the institutionalization of several national programs, and the Department of Trade and Industry, where she initiated curricular reforms and led the institutional reforms of industry skill in her current role as the Executive Director of the PTTC and the Project Director of the Philippine Skills Framework Initiative. She is a declared women leader, an Ulirang Ina awardee, a Crystal International Women awardee, and an outstanding Tiduray Achiever awardee. This panel discussions and the Q&A following this session will be moderated again by Ms. Karen Davila. If time permits, on-site participants are encouraged to ask questions during this time. May I call now our panel members, Dr. Sherilyn C. Monterola, Ms. Ninette Fernando, Ms. Nelly Nita De Lira, and Ms. Karen Davila as the moderator.
Good morning once again, Dr. Sheryl Monterola, Ms. Ninette Fernando, Ms. Nelly De Lira. All right, good morning to all of you. It's women power on the panel right now. There could have been a man on the panel, but no. All right, let's start first with, essentially this is all about strengthening STEM workers and how it can change the economy. No less than President Marcos Jr. has said on several occasions, and I think in several meetings, that the need in the Philippines is a STEM. We lack STEM, right? So to open the discussion, provide your perspective on the state first of the Philippine economy when it comes to STEM workers. Oh no?
Good morning, Ms. Karen. Thank you for that opening difficult question. But regarding the status of STEM-capable workers here in the Philippines.
And let's be honest, right? So we have a fruitful discussion.
I think we need a lot of, upskilling and reskilling that we need to do. You know that there's this leap and bounds in terms of emerging technologies, and we need to really keep up with the development. So, as we all know, the results of the basic ed performance exit assessment, we need a lot of catching up to do in terms of um, 21st century skills like critical thinking, problem solving, and even ICT literacy, which are, of course, when we translate or connect to TVET and even to higher education, no? You have a poor foundation, and then later on, they will be in the pipeline for going into work. So, in terms of nurturing the pipeline so that we have this STEM capable workers, we need to have what you call a concerted effort to do it. Of course, we cannot just blame DepEd or the higher education institutions or TVET. We need to work together, especially those coming from the industry, because as mentioned earlier, like we need to make sure that whatever we're producing from the education sector will meet the demands of the industry. So I would say we need a lot of catching up to do and work a lot together to be able to prepare the STEM capable workers we need.
Okay, that was very good, ma'am.
Copy paste.
Copy
Okay.
paste. I love
Actually,
it. That's a good joke, huh? I'll borrow that.
Yeah. Actually, I represent the Philippine Trade Training Center. Our clients are the workforce themselves. We're working and helping develop, capacitate those who are already working in the different sectors. So in the past, I'd like to believe that there's really a need for us to really reskill and upskill the workforce. Okay, same thing. During the pandemic, actually, we also the need for us as a training institution to also update and upgrade and improve the modules that we're offering. So I'd like to particularly mention at this very point that the Philippine Skills Framework development was, I think, very crucial, very critical, and very timely, as it was or it is now the basis of the curriculum development, module development of all the programs that we are offering at the Philippine Trade Training Center. So we're not more on the technical proficiency because we'd like to believe that these are actually, courses and modules that are offered by academic institutions or even TESDA, but we're more on core skills and competencies. Core skills, analytical thinking, digital fluency, problem solving, and things like those. With the engagement that we had with a number of companies for this year, I think we were able to work with more than 150 company exclusive. We've seen their interest. I mean, no less than the HR of these companies have really prepared a pathway for us to deliver the trainings for us. And most of the contents that they were requesting are actually aligned with critical thinking, because we know that, critical thinking for using data analytics, problem solving, looking at it on the perspective of mathematics and even scientific, things like those. So it's actually a challenge to us being a training institution, but we're really very happy to be partnering with a lot of other partners, government, and even international partners for us to deliver programs.
Okay, well, that's good news. At least I would have to say that's a bit of the rainbow right there. Okay, ma'am, Miss Fernando.
Yes, I'm speaking on behalf of the employers this time. And the irony here is that you have a lot of graduates. You have a lot
You
of...
mean STEM graduates or no, just graduates?
Just graduates. So you have a lot of graduates, but there is still a massive unemployment. Right. So there's really a mismatch, skills mismatch that we have to address.
Is it a mismatch or there aren't enough jobs?
It's a skills mismatch.
Okay.
And as well as there are not enough jobs to fit the requirements of the skills that our present graduates have. They don't match the available jobs that we have. And that's where the reskilling, updating, upgrading comes in. On the part of what I would like to say is that in the past there had been efforts as well by government, TESDA, to really pursue or promote STEM. But what is important, as we see now in the 21st century workforce, that there is a significant change, a transformation with digitalization on the kinds of skills that we will need. And this, I think we are trying to catch up. Training institutions are trying to catch up. Companies are trying to catch up because companies at the start, when they want to get employees, they're looking at the initial competencies, the readiness, training readiness, as well as, and what is those training competencies? Competencies, you talk about problem solving, you talk about analytical thinking, and so on and so forth. So in terms of where the STEM is, we are in a situation where it's a transition from what we used to provide to what we need to do. And this requires a lot of a change in perspective from the training institutions as well as from employers. What is your role now? What interventions can you do to also assist training institutions? Because you as employers, we as employers, we know what we want. We know what skills we need. So I think that's where the partnership will come in between the training institutions and employers.
Okay, so any of you can take this question. When we launched I'm part of UN Women, so when we launched the She STEM Scholarship Awards, it was interesting that I was looking for numbers. How many are the STEM workers in the Philippines? There are no numbers. I mean, that was shocking that you can't identify the STEM workers and give a number, so then you can have a percentage analysis vis-a-vis how many workers are in the Philippines, how many are in STEM. So you don't even know how many women are in STEM because you don't know how many exactly are in STEM. So the STEM workers that you know of, we talk about upskilling, right? Compared to our ASEAN neighbors, be specific. What can't the Filipino STEM worker do? Or where are we lagging? Let's say, ASEAN is one thing. If we include India in the picture, that will be harder. Because India, frankly, when it comes to, right, the harder skills, they're quite advanced, even with the BPO industry. But be specific. Magaling tayo sa ilang bagay, we are good in some things, but where are we lagging sa STEM? You can just feel free. Compared to our ASEAN neighbors, go ahead.
Okay.
Please. Yeah, so let's say, like for example, you can
Yung
say...
mahirap na tanong, sige. Well, there really is difficult to get the exact figures because I don't want to hazard a guess why. No, why government is
Clearly, there was no monitoring system.
Yeah,
There's no data.
The data that we have, because I'm doing the research, available data pertains to those students in senior high school who opted to go into the STEM track.
But that's not accurate because, right? It's been proven when they go to college, a lot of them will shift to nursing, shift to mass comm, shift to something easier, right? So, and not everybody, frankly, can make it to an engineering course, right?
Yes.
You'll know when you're hitting third year college. Then the professor will tell you, you know what? Shift.
Because many,
right? Or you know what? You can make it. Go civil engineering.
Many employers, unfortunately, I think this is a holistic problem. On the part of families, it's a cultural thing. Kailangan makagraduate ka, kailangan makatapos ka ng kolehiyo, etc., etc. It's aspirational on the part of families that you'll be able to finish college. That's one.
But you can't make an engineer if you don't finish college.
Yes, that's right.
Let's be honest.
Then there are also companies, because there's a lot of college graduates who would prefer, even if you just need a engineering technician, they will opt for a college graduate, overqualified. So in a way that also dampens if ever there's an attraction for students to go into TVET. That's why many of our TVET people, TVET students, they go outside of the country because that's where they are more recognized.
But none of you answered
Unfortunately.
first the question.
Yeah.
Where are we lagging?
Uh,
Okay, would you want to take this first? Think about it.
Yeah,
and
I
take
think
it.
I would like to jump in, Karen, to actually answer the first problem, which is actually how we define STEM-oriented or STEM-related professions. Because that's one of the problems. You always think of hard sciences and engineering graduates as the ones that are they belong to the STEM professionals. But when we actually look at the global picture, how they define what STEM-related professions are, it's actually the professions that use and implement either STEM knowledge, thinking skills, knowledge of, let's say, digital literacy and all into their profession. So when you think about that, it actually widens the basket of STEM-oriented or STEM-related professions. So, for example, like the engineering technicians, the lab technicians, manufacturing companies will not run if you don't have the technicians who will do the troubleshooting and all. So, but the engineers will be considered as the STEM professionals, and the analysts.
I think, to be fair, a lab technician is considered a STEM professional.
But if you think about the other shop floor workers, they also use STEM, no? For example, if in a shop floor, if let's say a factory worker, let's say there's a jam in his production line, and if he's not able to troubleshoot because he doesn't mind about the entire production line, if he doesn't have that big picture thinking or systems thinking, he will think that that's okay. But it will affect the entire production line, and they will not meet the quota for that day, and so on. So, or if they don't know how to estimate materials and not be precise or accurate in the measurement, there can be wastage in the ingredients or some
Yeah.
materials of the products.
Oh, I agree.
Yeah.
So where are we lagging?
So in terms of first is that we're lagging in terms of basically having the qualified, let's say, I heard from some industries like foreman, trainings in foreman, even other like in renewable energy, for example, things are opening up here in the Philippines. But I don't think we have like training programs or trained professionals for, let's say, troubleshooting for renewable energy technologies. So those things and more. Yeah.
So
you know,
that's a
Karen,
lack of workers. But I'm asking, where are we lagging in terms of skill?
Karen, I
Specifically.
think not necessarily the lack of skills, because our skilled workers are sought after when they go outside of the country, right? So I think the problem here is really packaging what STEM education is all about and what the STEM products are, so that there will be a better appreciation, because that starts with the perception. It starts with the mindset. And that's where we are lacking in terms of packaging. Para bang ang tingin you go into STEM because you did not pass college. You cannot make it to college, you go to STEM. And that already creates...
Is there a thinking like that? I mean,
think
I didn't go to
so.
STEM because it's simple. I'm so bad at math.
Then
I went to MASCOM, but I became Karen Davila.
Yeah.
So I mean, I don't personally, never thought that you
Because
didn't make it to
STEM
college,
is
you went to
usually a
STEM.
2-year course, a TVET, no? A TVET course,
there.
a TVET, no. I'm sorry, I want to make a distinction between
Yes, but
STEM
I don't
and
think it's
TVET.
STEM. It's TVET.
TVET, a 2-year course, and it's really STEM, no? It's really STEM. So when you go into TVET, you can't make it to college, so you go to TVET, no? So that makes it, there's that kind of perception already that you're
Yeah.
not good enough.
Uh-oh.
Now, for STEM courses, again, there's something cultural between women and men. Like women, you go into the more social, less STEM related.
That's why we started the
Yes,
She
yes.
STEMs Awards, to break the stereotype.
Yeah,
That
yes.
women can't do STEM.
Yes, and I think that's although there are. I'm very proud
Yeah.
to see the Nestle, because we were part of that. We
Yeah.
were part of ECOP was part of that.
Yeah.
But it takes time, because it's deep ingrained, especially in the
Oo.
provinces.
But I
the
think
STEM.
you hit on a few things that are important to focus on is before we go to the DTI is number one, the problem is the companies themselves, right? So a company will demand for a four-year college graduate when technically the job, which is, let's say, an electronic technician, could have been done and become an expert taking a two-year program. But isn't that a problem also in the Philippines? You have a sales lady of Shoe Mart. They demand a college degree, I think. Right? I mean, seriously, a security guard. I mean, you can correct me if I'm wrong. And you don't need a college degree to become president of the Philippines. So this is an overall employability issue in the country, not only STEM, right? For some reason, we want a college degree for a cashier. We want a college degree for a supervisor, right? So this is all over to, not only STEM.
It's a proxy actually for HR. No, I used to be in
Yeah.
HR. It used to be a proxy for determining is the person has persistence. Does the person has a little bit of analytical thinking?
Yeah.
Because for you to be able to finish college, that means that
Yes.
person has
But it's
persistence.
also
et
a
cetera,
lack
et
of
cetera.
trust and the credibility of our educational system that we feel pasang-awa lahat sa public school. Kaya ayaw nyo tanggapin.
Graduate naman tayo ng public school. Sa
I'm
UP.
trying. No, you see, no, UP is a college that's very difficult to get into. It is UPCAT. But I'm trying to say, so ang tanong, why are companies, why do they want a college degree? Because they can't trust the public school system. The basic education and high school, they think that in the end, they're mandated to pass everyone. Am I making sense? So, right? Oh, there you go. Because I was analyzing, why would a company want that? There's a lack of trust. If this was the UK or Australia, you trust the basic education system, right? Oh, but moving on, that's one, right? Okay, you were saying,
Okay.
right?
Yeah, I won't answer where we are lagging.
So
But I'd like to connect.
Ang title ng panel na to, Let's Be Honest.
Let's be honest.
Yun.
Okay, but I'd like also to take off from what Ma'am was saying, because I think there's already a move now towards micro-credentialing, stackable, di ba? Stackable or skill set. Because I'd like to believe that there are already some companies who are no longer looking at, diplomas, baccalaureate
Like
courses.
who? Like what companies? Can you name them?
Maybe BPO, because they'd look at the skill set of the particular person.
But what job?
Some in the creative industry would also be considering the stackable skills and competencies or the skill set
Okay.
that are, that a
I
certain
agree.
person has.
Let's say you're an editor, so you don't ask for a college degree. but that's not essentially the STEM the country needs, right? But go on.
Yeah. Okay. I think that one of the challenges I think that the Philippine education is confronted with, not only in the Philippines right now, but I think the ones that are recognized are those who have completed the different levels, because we're talking about the Philippine qualifications framework, and that's what is recognized internationally. That's why papasok ko ulit, I'd like to insert again the Philippine skills framework, because it's actually looking at the skill set of a certain individual who is qualified for a particular job role. Because we're talking about, it actually addresses, or it actually, yes, addresses the requirements of the employer, the HR, even the person who is looking at his career path can actually look at the skills framework, because it already defines the skill set, what are the necessary technical and enabling skills and competencies necessary for a particular position. So you don't have to go to college to complete, you don't have to go to college to complete the 4-year course or whatever, but look at the specific skills necessary for that job and get it from training institutions, whether it's in the Philippines or abroad. So somehow, yes, it addresses.
Yeah. No, the reason I'm asking these questions, because it's easy to be idealistic, but Miss Fernando was in the private sector, and you need to tell me the truth. If there was a job
Honestly.
open, you had a college graduate from UP, and one who took TESDA, same skill set, but the other one had a college degree from UP, who would you hire? I rest my case.
Okay.
I mean,
no,
it's a hard
yeah.
thing, but
Well,
my
it
take
depends
is
on the...
unless we confront our own biases, because we keep saying, I know this, but we keep saying you don't need a college degree, you don't, and here I am as a parent, and I'm saying, does my son really not need a college degree? Diba? You're also talking to me, but you had to think. You didn't say, doesn't matter. Hindi eh.
Hindi.
Yun nga.
One, it depends. Okay. Okay.
Okay.
I'll give an example. It really depends. Now,
Say no, I said same skill set.
just like an HR,
Same
huh?
skill set,
Okay.
same.
I
Same
would
skill
look
set.
at the position. And for a certain position, you don't need a UP graduate who had passed UCAT, etc., and all those teachers who, what do you call the teachers? Hindi, yung mga nagbubuli, ano yun? Nag-ano?
Hindi, no.
No, what I'm saying is, you don't have to pass that. For instance, kung the position is for a janitor or a technician,
hindi
do
naman
I
yun.
need
Ang layo
that?
naman nun.
No, I
Yung
don't need
college
that.
graduate, baka hindi naman
But there are certain positions that you don't need to get a UP graduate. You know why?
No, let's not do naman.
No, the college graduate, a college
Yeah.
graduate
No, let's
versus...
do an electrical technician.
Okay. An electrical
An electrical
technician,
technician who needs a job and graduated from UP versus an electrical technician who took TESDA.
most likely I will get the UP graduate who's an engineering graduate.
That's the point. So that's exactly we are.
Although the work is just technician.
Absolutely. And there is no punishment here. It's confronting the realities we live in. Right?
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
It is true. I cannot imagine. I mean, don't get me wrong. There's Unilab here. I mean, I cannot imagine. Let's say Aboitiz, SM, Ayala, all these listed companies. If two people were in the other one at a college degree, you in HR, anybody would be blind to the college degree. I have yet to meet that person. Correct.
Karen, I think I have a different opinion.
Go ahead.
Talking about,
So the
because,
conversation is
we're
enjoyable.
We're recently hiring, and we're hiring someone for our maintenance and equipment development division here. And we're really particular about them passing the practical, because there's a practical test. So we gave them that. No, it's regardless of the degree, or regardless of the education background. At the end of the day, who can do the practical test, and it's time bound and all.
Yeah. Okay, but yours is okay. So there's a different barometer, the practical test.
Yes.
Okay,
Yes,
both of them can do it the same. The other one is a college degree. Both of them can do it the same.
I think
The same, exactly the same.
we also do interview, Karen. So we gauge whether he or she can relate to the setup here that we have.
Okay.
The human resources.
So
here.
are you telling me that there's an intention to remove the college degree from the application? Because if you tell me that, I'll be impressed.
But UP has
Really?
UP has what you call
I'll be
education
impressed.
requirement, but there are certain
Yeah, but Marin, you'll really remove it, meaning it's irrelevant.
if UPHR already submitted to us the list, then meaning to say it's already he's already qualified regardless of the education background. So we do the practical test and we do the interview, because those are we'll be able to gauge how he or she will fit in within our needs in the institution.
Okay, okay, I'll let you rest. But I have a good point that's good for all of us coming from the Australian ambassador in a forum I had the other day. Madam, your turn.
Okay, I actually come from the government. I come from a government agency, and definitely they'll be looking for, civil service eligibility, college graduate and all that. I think it's actually, there's some kind of discrimination
All
and
right.
limiting on that part.
So,
It has not changed.
no, so I am so happy we're discussing this, all of you, because I know we have to wrap up, but the other day we had a UN Women Forum, and the Australian ambassador in the Philippines, HKU, is, Australia is, they set a very high standard in terms of closing in the gender gap in all industries. And they're a model as a country. When they talk about inclusion, they put their money where their mouth is. It's a good model for all of us. So she said one thing. So we often talk about having more women, right? More women in boards, more women in parliament, more women in this. But she said something that many of us don't talk about. At some point, you have to measure them, right? So if you want a policy change, you then have to say it has to be 50% women. I know it sounds too affirmative action, but you won't have a major difference if you don't count, right? Let's say it's a panel. 9 men, 1 woman. No, you have to be conscious. If you really are gender conscious, right? I mean, it'll be for, let's say, 5 men, 5 women. Well, this one's better, all women. But moving on, is that the talk of measurement. In STEM, it is the same. You have to then consciously say, no college degree needed. It's like applying in the US. They've brought it to court that you take out the SAT, certain tests, because it discriminates the poor who can't afford the test. So unless we do that and it becomes just discretionary, I don't think there's going to be a change for vocational. It has to be these jobs, it has to be measured. Vocational only, no college degrees apply here. Ganon ka specific. That's my take. Or what are your thoughts? It's very revolutionary thinking, but that's the only way you make one, because it's the same with women eh. Women were the minority. To make women come up, you then have to tip the scale. So if you want to tip this scale, you then have to say, this job, no college degree. You are discriminated here. This is not for you. Okay yon?
I can't say na
Because you
it's
can make
really
a
okay.
difference.
Very,
Okay, yeah.
I agreed. It's very revolutionary. In fact, there are studies by TESDA when they did a study of their graduates. They found out that most of the biggest number of students that they had during the last few years were actually college graduates who wanted to go back and take training programs in TESDA to become certified in certain skills. So that tells us a lot.
That's not a minus, because education is always a plus.
Yes, that's
You
right.
see, it's always a plus. The issue we have here is advancing tech voc.
Yeah.
Right? That's the discussion.
My problem only with the same thing with anything that we put a big barrier, so to speak, is that it can have a backlash. No, it can have a backlash. Like students will say, na will not tell that the graduates will not be honest to tell to their would-be employers that they are college graduates. Okay, so
lie.
yes, they will
Okay.
lie.
Ay, hindi ko naisip yun.
And that's not,
Hindi
yeah,
ko-
they will lie. Because masyadong matalino ang mga tao, no? They will look for ways.
Wouldn't be lying in your application forfeit you of the job if you're caught lying?
But then, yes, but you know, employers don't have the time to review each of those applications to see if you're lying or not. It's only when you're working, and that's when they probably see if you're lying. And then, for instance, you've been working well for a year or two,
So,
then they
so
will
how do
also
we
think about.
beat the biases? I think that's it. That's the question here.
Yes, yes. I think how to beat the. Sorry. When to beat the biases, first we have to show that there's a business case for getting into TVET or getting into STEM, and that also has to be. I think what we have been discussing earlier, it has to be packaged well as well. Marketing. What's in it for everyone to be in STEM? What's in it for everyone to be in TVET? What's in it for employers to get TVET? Because for as an employer, I wouldn't want a college graduate for a very um, uh, entry job, because I don't expect that person to stay on the job for a long time. So I cannot invest as an HR or as an employer. So that's counterintuitive, no, for a company. That's why it's something that we also have to impress on our employers. That's what ECOP is doing. We're trying to impress that hey, soft skills is needed, an impression of STEM, TVET, etc., etc. But not just technical. But I agree, soft skills is very important as well. That's where we can start this something that is I think easier to accept, absorb.
So how do we beat the biases? How do you?
Um,
I mean, government can start by setting the example by not having to hire only college graduates.
Yes. Okay. I'd like to speak for my organization. We actually have some positions that do not necessarily require, for example, civil service or college degree, or there are some technical positions that may be open because it's not, it's not a regular position. That's where we consider, TVET. Yeah, what we consider particularly are actually the skill set. And so far, they are actually working. You're right when you were saying when we get 4 year 4 year course graduate 4 year yes graduates and get them into positions that are not maybe responding to the challenges that they're looking for, they won't stay. They will actually look for other positions in other institutions, something like that. So what I'm saying is actually we've given opportunities to this. Electrician, operators in our Digifab, where we have technology, high technology equipment for fashion, for example, CNC cutter and all that. These are all, 2-year courses, or not necessarily 2-year courses, but these are people who have acquired skills and competencies that are SWAC, that match the skills and competencies needed for the particular job.
No, and before you end, I was going to say, you pointed something so important because diba, in the Philippines, it's also how we look at certain skills. If you go to New Zealand, Australia, other countries, if you call a plumber, it's a specific skill. They look up to an electrician. They look up to a plumber. But with us, anybody is a plumber. Your neighbor, and it shouldn't be the case, right? We should really market it as a specific that you graduated a plumbing course. Yeah, and then see it as a profession. Because that's true. That's very true. I've seen it in Western countries specifically, wherein they're the business themselves. They don't even have to apply for a job, right? Okay, to close.
Beating the bias, Karen, I think this is already a statement for us. I've been working in STEM in Tibet for several years. I'm coming from a perspective of a head of a STEM education and training institution. But we have been providing trainings for integrating STEM in technical vocational education training. I have high regards for the TVET specialists and trainers I have worked with in the past 4 years, from electrical installation maintenance, aquaculture, from agriculture production. So it's really us working hand in hand with TVET But also, I'd like to say that we balance it because we don't want to also forget about developing the next generation scientists and engineers. That's why NISMED is balanced in terms of having programs for those who are STEM able, no, or high ability in STEM. So we don't forget about them, but we don't forget about the other sectors as well. So we keep it as a balance. So that's how we address the bias. Thank you.
On that note, everybody, please give a hand to Dr. Cheryl Monterola, Miss Nelly Nita Deliera, and Miss Nenet Fernando. Wait, and may I add, don't you think Miss Fernando looks like Mitch Valdez? And she sounds like Mitch Valdez! You can be a double, di ba? Super. All right, thank you, women. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you to our discussants and Ms. Karen Davila. Maybe our key takeaway for this panel on Let's Be Honest is that other than addressing equality, we are aware of various skills and we need to address equity, which is critical in increasing employment in the country. So, let us now award the certificates of appreciation. Again, may I invite Ms. Lenartes, Veloria, and Mr. Melvin Magsayo on stage to award the certificates to our panel discussants. Please allow me to read the contents of the certificate, and the same certificate is awarded to our three discussants. The certificate of appreciation is given to Sherilyn C. Monterola for sharing her time, knowledge, expertise, and insights as panel discussion during the STEM in TVET Summit with the theme Reinforcing Future-Ready TVET Through Science, Technology, Engineering, and Mathematics, or STEM, held on 25 to 26 of January 2024, given this 25th day of January 2024 in Diliman, Quezon City, Philippines. Signed, Ms. Lenartes M. Veloria and Mr. Melvin D. Magsay. Isabay na lang daw po, the same certificate awarded to Ms. Ninette Fernando and also to Ms. Nelinita Guillera. And also the same certificate awarded to Ms. Karen Davila. Once again, thank you very much to our esteemed panel discussants and to our moderator for an insightful and informative panel discussion. Thank you as well, Ms. Veloria and Up next, let us hear more about from the SHE-STEM Scholarship Awards from Ms. Karen Davila. The SHE-STEM Scholarship is a newly launched scholarship award that shall be granted to outstanding female STEM students to help them complete their college degrees. Yes, ma'am.
Dito na lang. So before I leave, I'd like to take this opportunity. So I've been appointed as the UN Women Philippines Goodwill Ambassador. So I am the first UN Women Philippines Goodwill Ambassador. So one of the first projects that we initiated is, you know, UN Women is about gender equality and breaking stereotypes for women. And of course, UN Women advocates, of course, against gender-based violence. I know you're familiar with that already. There's a global campaign on the 16 days of activism that we recently spearheaded. But one of the first programs that we thought of coming from the Philippine situation is the CISTEM's Scholarship Awards. So when I thought of this, I didn't know how to go about it. I first approached Unilab, because Unilab was already active in STEM and they started to form CISTEM, right? So Lilibeth Aristorenas and her team really helped me navigate through the STEM industry in terms of need. Where can UN women be present? And I also met with Lights of the ILO, and I already knew by then that the International Labor Organization was already focused on STEM for vocational courses. So I knew that that particular space already had a lot of funding and a lot of focus from the ILO. So what we started, the STEM Scholarships Awards, essentially looks for the best and the brightest female students who will finish STEM. That's the key. So we first partnered with the University of the Philippines. Why? Because if you want the best and the brightest, they're probably here. And we are focusing on state universities and colleges. Why? Because if they're in a private school like Ateneo or La Salle, they probably don't need the awards or the scholarship. So we really specifically thought about who should get it and what's the purpose. What's the purpose of the STEM Scholarship Awards? I went to the UP Scholarships and Grants Office in UP. There are many companies, I don't know if you're aware of this, that actually grant scholarships here in UP. All you need to do is go to that office and whatever you need, you can actually apply for a scholarship. Some companies don't need a grade minimum. They all measure on need. As long as you're a UP student, you have the need, you can get a scholarship. That is not STEM Scholarship Awards. So STEM Scholarship Awards looks for the best and the brightest female students. Why? Because one, we are UN women. We're focused on building women, amplifying women, and in the Philippines, out of 10 STEM workers, only 3 are women. Filipinas, and I'm not talking about TechVoc, I'm talking now about Filipinas in college don't want to graduate STEM. We lack in the Philippines, they don't want to be a chemist. They don't want to be a pharmacist. They don't like computer science. They don't want to be in data analysis. There are other industries that you need a college degree simply because it's a global expertise and everybody in the world, you're fighting off from bigger universities, right? So we don't have a lot of women in civil engineering. There aren't a lot of women in mechanical engineering. A lot of them are men. So STEMs focuses on the women who are smart with a general weighted average of 1.75. That's cum laude standing. We start off third-year college. Why is that? Because we don't want to give a scholarship first year for STEMs and they're going to shift on their third year and go to business, go to mass comm, or go to fine arts. The point is you need to go to STEM. You finish math, you finish engineering, take a science course, it's specific. So it's harder. So we're looking for, I believe UP is helping us, 4 from the University of the Philippines, 3 from Mindanao, and 3 from the Visayas. And they're helping us with the details. But why is this important? I wanted to be a broadcast journalist because I saw Lauren Legarda on TV. I saw Cheche Lazaro on TV. Bakit ang daming bata gusto maging artista? Kasi napapanood nila si Catherine Bernardo, si Piolo Pascual, and they think, wow, that's probably the best career. But it's not. There are so many other good careers. But what's the difference? You need a role model. There are no women STEM role models in the Philippines. You can't name me one. Right? We have scientists. My aunt who passed away was a First Towns awardee. She was the head of PNRI, and she discovered part of the cure or one of the isotopes that's used for radiation when you treat cancer. But I mean, she's not somebody you know, and I think that's the space that we want to get into, because I believe you will push people into STEM pag nakita nila ay marami palang sikat din. Kilala ko na nasa STEM. Cool pala ito. 'Di ba? Cool ito. Okay ang STEM. So that's the goal of the UN Women Goodwill Ambassador She STEMs Scholarship Awards. So for now, we've raised 4 million pesos. We've gotten funding from Ramon Ang, Tessie Coson, Senator Lauren Legarda, Unilab Foundation, the Food D Group, because food tech agriculture is a STEM course. And what is the biggest problem in the Philippines? Agriculture. You have a country like Israel that has no grass, no land, no tillable land, and yet food tech, agri-tech in Israel, they're the role model. So many Western countries go to Israel because of that. So we're hoping that in this little space, we can just start. It's what we call a tipping point. We're not messianic in this particular mission, but we do hope to be a part of the conversation that gets the ball rolling. So I think it's so important that I have Miss Mitch Valdez here. She's with ECO, right? So thank you so much. And I do hope that when the time comes, please help us at UN Women. And if you need more information, please just ask the UP Scholarship and Grants Division. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Karen, and we do hope that our participants will share the information given provided by Ms. Karen. We will now proceed to the next part of our program, the expression of commitment. In today's fast-paced and dynamic global landscape, the demand for a skilled workforce anchored in science, technology, engineering, and mathematics, or STEM fields has never been greater. And recognizing this, different stakeholders, agencies, and industries all together will pledge their commitment to foster innovation, creativity, and excellence in TVET. This commitment is not just an ordinary signature on a paper, it's a promise to invest in the potential of our youth, equipping them with the tools they need to thrive in the industries of tomorrow. Now, the moment we've all been waiting for, to express their commitment to developing a future-ready workforce through STEM in TVET. Start with, I invite Ms. Lights Veloria, the National Program Coordinator of Women in STEM Program, International Labor Organization, Mr. Melvin Magsayo, the Executive Director of CISTEM Incorporated, and Dr. Sherilyn C. Monterola, the Director of UP NISMED, to come on stage and sign on the commitment board. Anywhere? Ay, sino mauna? Please remain on stage, Ms. Light, Sir Melvin, and Dr. Sher, as I call other participants in promoting the STEM in TVET Future Ready Workforce to sign on our commitment board. Let's have Dr. Karin Baradi, the CEO of IDEA Group, please. Ms. Ninette Fernando, from the Confederation of the Philippine TVET and Skills. Ms. Nelly Nita Deliera, Executive Director of the Philippine Trade Training Center, Department of Trade and Industry, or DTI. Ms. Rostine Falorina, United Nations Development Program. Ms. Mallory Joy O. Mones, Australian Embassy, Manila. And Ms. Pierre Pexon from the British Council. May I also invite the following to come on stage and sign. Dr. Elmer Irene, Director for International Affairs of Samar State University. Dr. Evelyn Vedasto, Professor from Aklan State University. Professor Edwina Eleanor Espaderna from the UP College of Education. And Dr. Gonzalo Serafica from the Unilab Foundation. After the Dr. Serafica photo po. Okay, everyone, group photo po. Thank you very much po. We invite everyone to also express their commitment to developing a future-ready workforce through STEM in TVET by signing on the commitment board, which will be later placed outside the auditorium near the photo wall. Now, this morning, we've heard interesting sharings, nice panel discussion, very honest. We were actually engaged in that session. Informative discussion and thought-provoking insights from our guest experts and panel discussants. Before we go on to our next activity, we'd like to encourage everyone to share their experience today on their social media accounts. Don't forget to use the following hashtags: STEM in TVET and Ready for the Future. You may have your lunch from 12 o'clock p.m. to 1:30 p.m. Lunch will be served on the second and third floor lobbies of this building. Buffet tables are stationed outside the auditorium and in the third floor lobby. We will hold parallel workshops from 1:30 to 4:30 in the afternoon. Participants must be at their selected workshops at 1:30 p.m. as each session is scheduled to begin at 1:30 p.m. Please make sure you have signed up for the session you wish to attend. Slots are limited and will be given on a first-come, first-served basis. Only those who have signed up for their workshop of choice will be allowed to go to the workshop venues. Attendance sheets for each workshop will be made available at the workshop venues. Please make sure that you sign up for the workshop that you wish to attend for both days, as you will not be allowed to move to a different workshop on day 2. Here are the different workshops that you may attend. Workshop 1, Harnessing the Power of the Digital Economy, will be held at the High School Earth Science Lab, 3rd floor. Thinking Beyond Numbers, Numeracy for the Workplace will be held at the High School Biology Lab, 3rd floor also. Workshop 3, Making TVET Learner Centered, will be held here at the auditorium. Workshop 4, Inventing an App for TVET, and will be held at the Information Science Laboratory, 3rd floor. Workshop 6, Using Generative AI for TVET and TVL, will be held at the Elementary School Science Lab, just right after this exit floor. Here are the venues for venue maps for the event. The maps are also in your program brochure. So on the first floor, you may view the different exhibits later on at 4:30 or this lunchtime. Learn more about our exhibitors' products and services and participate in their activities. You may also join the raffle to be held later this afternoon from 4:30 to 5:30 p.m. for a chance to win prizes from exhibitors, but you may visit them anytime. On the second floor, you will find the venues for workshop 3 and 5 and 6, and the first aid and information station and buffet tables for our snacks and lunch are also found here. Again, you may find the venue maps on the back page of your printed program brochure. But before we leave the auditorium, I would like to invite everyone for another photo op to document this event. To those who are in the lower area, again, please stay in your respective seats. But for those who are in the mezzanine, just stay there po and please stand. Let's start with the right side, which is your left. While waiting po yung workshop 5, learning 3D printing for TVET will be at the high school physics lab, just on this wing. Okay? 1. Okay, here, next. Dito naman po sa harap. Much, and we'd like to inform our Facebook Live and NISMED TV participants that the broadcast will temporarily end during the lunch break and will resume at 1:20 p.m. To our on-site participants, please proceed to the ground floor lobby at 4:30 p.m. after your workshops to view the exhibits and participate in their raffle activities. Our lunch break is from 12 o'clock to 1:20 p.m. Lunch will be served on the 2nd and 3rd floor. So buffet tables are stationed on 2nd and 3rd floor. Thank you, and we'll see you in your workshop venues.